As Brightline gears up for its return to service in a couple of months, the high-speed rail service is also making big steps today to take passengers to yet another destination, Orlando. WPTV News Channel 5's Joel Lopez joins us live from Lake Park to break down the latest on this project. Joel?
Good morning, Tori. If you live in North Palm Beach County, things may look a little different for your daily commute. If you take a look behind me, you can see that crews are working on 13 miles of tracks like this one from West Palm Beach to Jupiter that will be getting its second track ready for service, so expect possible delays. Of course, this is all part of the project to get the high-speed train running from Miami to Orlando with multiple stops in between. The Orlando Extension project is about 2/3 of the way done, and they're expected to have service up and running by 2023. And a ride from West Palm Beach to Orlando will take approximately 2 hours.
So they're not just taking a gamble and getting in their car and sitting in traffic for hours on end. And so it's very important to us that we get back into service, that we resume service, that we get our extension up and running, and be able to transport people from one spot to the next.
Brightline trains won't be running on these tracks just yet, but other trains will be running through the area, so keep an eye out for crews that are helping navigate traffic. Reporting live in West Palm Beach, Joel Lopez, WPTV News Channel 5.
Hello and good day, everyone. Good evening. It is your host and founder on this wild ride, Demetrius Villa. Welcome aboard, everyone. We are back for our Saturday tradition. Yes, we are. Brutus Tan the third. Hello, everyone. Hello, Neon Neo, Stephen Smith, Chicago Rail fan, Heartless Fiend. And we don't have as many people as we usually do nowadays, since we've been off for a little while, but we do have some news to catch up with, so let's keep going. There we are, Carl Lindquist from Palm Springs, California. Welcome aboard. All right, everyone, so we're going to try to go through 3 items of discussion today. We're going to try to keep them short as we usually do. It is about 8 o'clock on the East Coast over here and half the Midwest. And we're trying to keep them nice and short. Yep, we're trying to get back to rolling and keep things moving forward, especially after what has gone on. But we have to keep moving forward, guys. That's, as we're still alive and we're still here, that's what we got to do. Hope you all can hear me loud and clear. Hello, Pensy fan. Hello, Chicago Rail fan. Hello, Jerry. And hello, Star Force 97. All right, so for those of you who were here in the beginning of this stream, we were just seeing a video about Brightline. They are getting back in full force as well. Well, they have been building for the last several months and years, especially during this coofdemic. Everybody being back inside for the last year and a half in some places. Things are starting to get back to normal in some places, depending on how you want to see it. In some states, a lot more than usual, especially in the sunny state of Florida, where Brightline is, in fact, leading the way for bullet trains, for high-speed rail, for rail and interstate rail and passenger rail in general in this country, where we need to be able to catch up, to be able to provide our citizens not only jobs. Because look, let's look back over here, guys. Because we're hearing a lot about jobs and a very underwhelming jobs report that had transpired in the last week or so. A dismal jobs report. It's probably a heck of a lot less jobs added in reality. Look at this guy. Doesn't he look like or Rami Malek? He does look like the guy from Mr. Robot. I've never seen the series. I've only seen whatchamacallit, the museum, Night at the Museum. He does look like Rami Malek. Anyway, let's look at this. Look at this, guys. So you can see how many people are over here working. Let's go ahead and make that a little bit full screen there, so you can guys be able to see that. Look at that.
Are working on 13 miles of tracks like this one.
All right, how many jobs right there? Right there, and just that smidgen right there. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. All right, so you have about 24 people right there, okay? And they're just, working on the track. That doesn't mean that there's just 2 dozen people right there. The whole entire trackage, not just for all the blue collar work, but all the other ancillary work for keeping up a passenger rail service. Okay, all the service crew, the drivers, the engineers, the people working in the background. You have people who are in marketing and finance, in accounting, people who are working on passengers, for marketing, for maintenance, all of that, all of those jobs. Okay, it takes thousands of people to go ahead and make this happen, to move millions upon millions of people. Okay, so because you have blue collar work happening, it supports the rest of the white collar work. Okay, and obviously in this country, unfortunately, we have turned our economy into very much a service-based economy where there isn't much physical product going through. Okay, and with passenger rail, like we had before in the 1900s and at least the early part of the 20th century, you had a balanced economy at the very least, and you still had cars. Okay, people still had a choice to go ahead and buy a car, which let's be honest. Inflation at that point, if you're working at Ford or if you're working at any of the big three, you could very easily afford a car at minimum wage. It wasn't that hard. So it's unfortunate the way that this country is going, but at least there are some states that are leading in the way. And funny enough, it is Florida, Florida, and possibly Texas, if they can be able to get Texas Central Rail moving forward, which I don't have news on that right now, but we will. All right, so we have about 26 people on your board. Not bad, not bad. So let's go ahead and move into the article. We're going to be talking about, in this stream, about Brightline, of course, about the new Siemens train sets that are being built over in California. The MTA having its own little bit of trouble, but the MTA finally catching up into the 21st century. And we're going to be talking about, of course, the infrastructure bill and the economy as a whole. Excuse me. And where we're going, guys, because where we're going, we may not have roads to go and actually drive on at this point. Things are. Let's look at this over here. We're at and it just keeps going. It just keeps going. So we'll talk about that later on in here. But yeah, guys, things are getting a little tense, but we're getting there. We are gonna be okay at some point. Look, and I know And this was even before Holly's passing. I've been trying to really sober you guys up. Right? I've been really honest. I'm not trying to go ahead and sell you a whole bucket of leprechauns and Lucky Charms and candy corns and unicorns. Okay? Because reality ain't like that. And the way things are going in this country, on both ends. There was an article that came out that both Republicans and Democrats, and look, I'm neither Republican or Democrat. At this rate, both parties have been for a very long time, for decades. They're just two sides of the same coin. But both, let's put it this way, constituents in both parties feel very much the need for separation, as in balkanization of the country. All right? So, again, we could very well see in our lifetime the United States split off into separate countries, right? Or something very much happen along the lines of a conflict, all right? I'm not going to get into that conflict. I'm not going to talk about that. It does require a separate video, maybe a separate live stream on top of that to really talk into detail what would happen to the infrastructure and what would happen or the need for rebuilding after some sort of conflict. But the reality is things are going to get worse before they get better, okay? It doesn't mean to give up, though, okay? It does not mean to just go ahead, give up, and just sit in your rooms and watch anime and play video games all day long and all night long, right? That's not at all what I'm saying, okay? What I am saying, start getting educated, start getting involved, all right? at the very least, keep yourself healthy, okay? Because all these guys working over here, I mean, nobody here is maybe this guy over here, but nobody here is really that out of shape, right? Okay, so we're gonna need people who are gonna be building, okay, building or rebuilding, whatever it is, okay. And you're gonna need to keep yourself in check because people are getting sick. It doesn't mean the coof is not the only source of getting sick. There's other sicknesses out there. So, all right. So I'm trying to sober you guys up, okay? Because I care for you guys. All right. You all we're all in this same club. We're all in this same family together. This whole extended family. Okay. And even if you guys are not in the United States, okay. First of all, people in the nation are part of your extended family. Okay. Let's be very clear about that. Okay, and then we have the wider range of family together. Okay, in this club. Okay, now it doesn't mean that by any chance, by all means, it doesn't replace your extended family. Okay, your family is very much close in between that. But we need to be able to go ahead and look at this. Henry Thrift. I'm not old enough for alcohol. Well, tonight I'm drinking milk because I just worked out. I'm trying to get myself in really good shape right now because for a job and position that I'm working toward. I'm not going to go any more into that what I'm trying to do, but I need to be in tip-top shape for this position. By God's will, if I get it. All right. So let's go ahead and move into this. Okay, could high-speed rail curb America's addiction to cars? So this article came out on Fast Company, and there's been multiple variations of this article coming out in certain different variations of this title. So you'll probably see this. Again, I'm going to put all links in the description below, hopefully after this stream. So you guys can be able to follow along and send these to people if you want. All right, this is by Nate Berg, 5-minute read. So let's go ahead and look through this, okay, real quickly. The privately funded high-speed rail company Brightline understands that it has some convincing to do. Since the automobile turned once dominant train travel into a transportation afterthought for most Americans, I wouldn't say, well, the automobile industry definitely, the idea of moving quickly and comfortably across the United States by rail has seemed more like a dream than a potential reality. The clunky, crash-prone, and underinvested in Amtrak system has not helped shift that perspective. And for those of you asking about why haven't I covered the crash on Amtrak, I'm trying to stay away from a lot of bad news. And I think that's something that we don't need to. It's kind of the same reason and problems, a very tragic incident. And again, pray for all of those who are involved and their families. And, let's make sure that, things like that. It's not that they're not going to happen, but let's try to decrease the frequency on that. So to try to persuade the average Joe gas tank that riding a train is a viable transportation alternative, Brightline is investing big in 5 new sets of train cars and locomotives that put the rider experience first. And this is by Mike Reininger, quote, "We're trying to get people to think differently about what riding a train is like." Okay? So I've said this before. I've said this since this club has started, since it was originally the High Speed Rail America Club back when I was in Florida International University working on this with Alex and with Darius and with Tolga and Sam and Saeed and the rest of everybody who was part of the original members and everybody else in the High Speed Rail America Club. All right, we understand that there's a need for a paradigm shift in the way we look at transportation, right? Because Amtrak is let's be honest, it's a very poor example of what rail transportation needs to be in this country. Okay, you ask the average person, and they think Amtrak is a joke, and unfortunately, very honestly, Amtrak, that's the type of look that they get. Okay, and this is why marketing is not just about, it's about setting an example, right? Okay, because marketing is not just going ahead and lying on the radio and the TV and on the internet and doing whatever to go ahead and pump up your product to make it look like the greatest thing ever, right? We're not trying to make some sort of car commercial where, some suave dude is sitting in his convertible, I don't know, convertible Lexus next to some bombshell redhead, right? This is not the type of thing we're trying to sell, okay? But by example, just looking at it, okay? This is why I created the little dark age video about rail transportation a month or two ago, right? Well, it's been about 2 months. And that video was dedicated to Holly because she really much embodied that example of what this country's values should be, right? Because those stations, right, like the old New York Penn Station, those trains, okay, like the Pennsy train sets, you know, like the Milwaukee, like all of those, they invoked a sense of power, of what this country really means, okay, or what it should mean, right? Because this country can mean a whole lot of things to a whole bunch of different people, depending on the way you look at it, okay? That's something we're not going to get into. But when you look at that, it gives you a sense of awe. It gives you a bunch of senses that you can't really explain, okay? But it makes you feel something, okay? And you can imagine those people back in that day, what they felt about looking at those trains, what they felt about walking through those stations, okay? As it was said before, when people used to walk into New York Penn Station, as the saying goes, people used to walk into Penn Station like they were gods. And now they walk into Penn Station like they're rats, okay? Because architecture, the way we market things, and the way things work, it really is a testament to how it is, okay? Brightline, what they're trying to do is very much a modern, forward-looking, futuristic, and complete service of what people want to do, right? Which is why Brightline went ahead and started Brightline Plus, okay? Which is a service that is going to now not only try to make Brightline have now this annual pass or this sort of Brightline commuter pass where you don't have to be paying a ticket every single time. You can just go ahead and swipe your Brightline pass and just get on the train, and you know it will make commuting probably a heck of a lot cheaper than paying for gas, especially how gas prices are going nowadays. And let's be honest, Brightline's prices will probably increase because of inflation and because of the price of oil and of diesel, because again, these trains are diesel, and even if Brightline were to convert to electric, that's going to be, because some people keep asking that, right? It's a very expensive initial cost in order to electrify the entire FEC, and the amount of changes that's going to put. Okay, would it be great? Yeah, but that's not going to happen tomorrow. Okay, maybe in the next 30 years, I don't know. But that's not something that we need to even be talking about right now. We haven't even started crawling, guys. We're just, as a country, in terms of our infrastructure, particularly our rail infrastructure, we haven't even started crawling into first world status. Okay, we're just finally getting ourselves our hand forward into this. Okay, there's a lot more work to do. At least we're starting to get the momentum going, and it's all because of Brightline, mostly. The cost of that, and not only of putting into electricity, but most electricity in this country is powered by either coal or oil. Yes, Florida does have Turkey Point, which is a nuclear power plant, and I'm not going to get into trying to convince people why nuclear power is the cleanest and the best source of electricity that we have. Because at this point, if you don't understand it, you're a brainlet. Let's be quite honest. Okay, I'm a big proponent for nuclear energy. Okay, just look at who started Greenpeace, and which companies funded Greenpeace in order to get rid of nuclear energy in this country. It was the oil companies, by the way. Let's get into that. Again, always follow the money. We've always said in this club, you look at people who are funding against high-speed rail and against passenger rail systems in this country. It's always been the same type of people. It's always been the automobile companies. It's always been some oil companies, like we've seen in Texas, or people connected to the oil industry. Okay, we know the judge over there, who is part of the Texas Citizens Against High-Speed Rail, is very much a big proponent in the oil industry. And we know that in Florida, you have the former president and CEO of American Airlines, who went ahead and funded $1 million and probably a heck of a lot more. And not only that, also lobbied to get the politicians in those counties, in Indian River County, to spend $5 million to go ahead and stop Brightline in its tracks, okay? So politicians still run the country. If you guys still think that politicians run the country, they don't, all right? Hopefully I don't hear a knock on the door and some if and that's another thing. If by any chance you ever hear that, I took my own life or something like that, which, I'm fooling around, guys, but I won't, okay? I absolutely won't. I'm a pretty devout Catholic. Suicide is out of the question. Let's keep going after that dark thought. Inspired by scouting rides on train systems around the world and research on design approaches used in hotels and airplanes. Again, very much tourist-minded, but also forward-thinking and looking at what the rest of the world has done and adapting it here to this country. Brightline's new train offers spacious seating, easily accessible aisles, touchless bathrooms, and onboard tech for fast internet and easy device charging. I do gotta say, Brightline, compared to the Shinkansen, I'm very much more pleased with Brightline's setting than the Shinkansen. Granted, the Shinkansen is set for a Japanese audience, mostly for Japanese passengers, so things are a little bit more cramped, even for my frame. I'm 5'9", but I have pretty broad shoulders for someone who's 5'9" and weigh 175 pounds. So I'm pretty built. And at the time I was in Japan, I was probably around 160 or so. But it was a little hard to get around in some areas in Japan. But the thing is that it was still very clean. There was still a lot of touchless interfaces to get around. And if you want to look at that again, look at our the most viewed video that we have on the channel, the ride on the Shinkansen, close to 2 million views. So everybody else can be able to see it, and a lot of Japanese viewers as well, because they understand that this would be a great thing to have in our country, particularly if they can get their own systems, the Japanese Shinkansens over here. Which, I mean, they created the system, so it would make sense. But yeah, here we have our own systems too. The Siemens charger. Siemens is a German company, and they're building it here in the United States. So this is American jobs, okay? American jobs, blue collar work that is in this country. And again, I'm a big proponent for blue collar work, for trades, because we need more trades in this country. Honestly, and I can tell you from experience, working in a cubicle is probably a reason why a lot of people in this country are getting unhealthy, and diseases, and cancer and heart disease is going through the roof. Okay, it's unnatural. Okay, it's not to say that you should stop working in a cubicle. The whole way that it's worked around in this country is very toxic to the human psyche. Okay, we haven't really changed much. Let's take it from a secular perspective. Human beings have not changed much evolutionary in the last 5,000 or so years, okay? We're still very much the same sort of, quote-unquote animal, right? You can't all of a sudden change somebody who was 200 years ago an agrarian type of worker, or a craftsman type of worker, and all of a sudden sit him down under fluorescent lighting and think he's going to do well for 40 years, because he's not, all right? And anybody telling you otherwise is lying or ignorant. The new trains have just rolled off the assembly lines of Siemens Mobility's North American manufacturing headquarters in Sacramento. There's a place called Pittsburgh in California, so that's where they are, technically. But it is around the Sacramento area. The full cost of the train set deal was not made public, but based on the cost of a similar train deal Siemens made with Amtrak, Brightline's 5 new train sets likely cost hundreds of millions of dollars. They do, okay? You have the Cummins engine there, because I worked for Cummins, the QSK 95 Hedgehog engine, a massive 95-liter, 4,000 horsepower, and a crap ton of torque engine in there. Clean technology, clean diesel, and all that. There's a lot of things I can say about Cummins. I've already said enough about Cummins, but let's put it this way. Siemens and Cummins have had some back and forths in there. That's as much as I can talk about, but Cummins has a lot that they need to start fixing in their company. But that's another story. All right, so they'll be rolling on Brightline's growing operations in South Florida. The first route, a 65-mile connection between Miami and West Palm Beach, which the company says has served more than 2 million riders since beginning operations in January 2018. Services were halted during the pandemic, but Brightline aims to resume operations in November. And I say that, what happened with that is definitely a good thing, okay? in hindsight and looking at it, I said it was going to be a good thing because, A, there's a lot less cost, because Brightline knows that the only reason that they're running Miami to West Palm Beach is more of an introductory service to get people used to the idea of getting on trains. Of course, it's going to lose money because their main market is going to be Miami to Orlando. A, the capacity is going to be packed at that point, and B, that's their main market, okay? In order to get people from Miami to Orlando in about 2 hours, 50 minutes, 2 hours, 53 minutes, if you want to be very exact about that, but less than 3 hours for 250 miles, okay, that's the sweet spot for train travel, for passenger rail travel, okay? So that's where their main market, their main source of revenue is going to come from. More than likely, within 10 years, Brightline will pay itself off, okay? Because you had a lot of its opponents going ahead and coming up with lies saying that, oh, Brightline can never make back the money. No, they most likely will make back the money, because the other thing that they're doing is all the real estate that they're doing along. Especially right now, Florida is growing past capacity. I'm one in the camp to say that Florida is not only overpopulated right now, but has been overpopulated for quite some time with the capacity that we have in terms of our road capacity and in terms of our housing, especially in South Florida. Okay, Brightline and commuter rail travel is a must. It is a must, especially on the US 1 corridor. Okay, because the US 1 corridor is the most dangerous corridor in the United States for road travel. Okay, the Miami-Dade to Key West portion of it, especially around that area, especially on Biscayne Boulevard, Aventura down all the way to, the Homestead area and Florida City area. That's the very dangerous area, okay? Extremely dangerous area because people are hitting each other on head-on collisions in some areas where they've had to add a median on there because it happens so much, and there's still a lot of accidents there. Okay, so it's definitely well needed. And again, Fast Company named the most innovative transportation companies of 2020. Brightline is focused on reinventing high-speed rail in the U.S. by building routes between destinations that are about 300 miles apart, which is, again, too far to drive, too short to fly, Reininger says. The company has invested more than $4 billion building out the first iteration of the system in Florida. Okay, and the 170-mile service extension is now being built from West Palm Beach to the Orlando International Airport, bringing the route total up to 235 miles. More than 60% complete, and hopefully by the end of 2022. And also, we have Las Vegas to Los Angeles. Technically Victorville, but hopefully they can get to Los Angeles later on, which is going to be another big project. And again, we have seen earlier in the part of the year in the congressional hearing for high-speed rail and for passenger rail technology, where a lot of congressmen and congresswomen who were really very much excited for Brightline. Where right after they would talk to the CEO of Amtrak, who was saying, "Oh, we're the only providers of high-speed rail, the real only true providers of high-speed rail in this country." Again, I'm being as nice as I can with Amtrak, and for by all means, I want Amtrak to succeed. But the thing is that we saw this, and guys can go ahead and look back at our archive of videos and look through that. That right after they talked to the CEO of Amtrak, Stephen Gardner, they went ahead right over to Mike Reininger, the CEO of Brightline, and saying, "Hey, when can we go ahead and get something in my neck of the woods, like in Illinois or again in the Las Vegas and California area?" And you had some people in California who even wanted to replace the high-speed rail project there with Brightline or have Brightline as an operator. Okay, so you're seeing this, in places like St. Louis, Chicago. And in other places and pairings, especially places like the Northeast, the Midwest, definitely are two places on the eastern part of the United States where you can see this. And of course, on the Pacific coast and in California is another area where you can see this. And of course, Texas and Florida. Texas and Florida, California, the three largest states right now. New York is losing a lot of people. California is also losing people as well. Texas and Florida are the two fastest growing states. So Texas and Florida really are going to be the two states where it's going to be very much imperative for these systems to come into fruition. And again, as we've seen, compare Brightline over to what's going on in the rest of the country. High-speed rail is far from a sure bet in the United States, with high-profile projects like California's long-sought cross-state system facing years of delays, budget drums, and lawsuits. One relative success is Amtrak's Acela train in the dense Northeast, connecting Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York, and Boston. Amtrak, which is a state-owned entity that receives public funding, derives a significant amount of its revenue from this corridor. Well, it receives basically, they make a profit in the Northeast corridor. If you were to, again, you have to tell people this because people get this misconception that rail doesn't make any money. You guys have heard this over and over again, but let's put it quite succinctly. If Amtrak were just the Northeast corridor, they'd be making a profit. Okay? And some of the corridors where they do make profit, like the auto train, like some trains in the Midwest, and like in California, okay, they make a profit in those areas. Okay, so if Amtrak was just running those trains, they'd be in the green. Okay, they'd be in the black, however you want to put it. The only reason they're in the red is because there's a lot of long distance travel, which Amtrak, okay, there's a lot of blame to go around. Okay, does Amtrak run them, quite as well as they should be? Probably not. Is there a lot of blame to put on the freight railroad companies? Yes, there is. Okay, there's a lot of blame to go around. Okay, the reality is the long distance routes are putting Amtrak in the red. However you want to fix it up, we've been over this before. Not going to get into it. Not going to get into it in this stream. All right. Private rail systems, on the other hand, don't have such a cheerleader or a source of subsidy, and very few have managed to survive in the, that's a typo there, United States. When it launched, yeah, the D and the S are close together, so I can see that this guy was, whoever was typing it, okay, let's not be stringent there. When it launched, Brightline was the first private passenger rail system to emerge in the United States in a century. Okay? Brightline is hoping to reach profitability by placing trains in places where population density is high and there's a built-in pattern of intercity travel. That's what makes sense, okay? It's common freaking sense. All right, that's why they're working with Siemens. All right, so we all get this, right? Okay, and we know that Brightline, inside is a very well-to-do, very spacious, very clean, very modern type of system, right? Okay, for those of you who have ridden it before this whole event happened, everybody was going ahead and having a great time and looking throughout it. Okay, we have videos on our channel of the first VIP ride on Brightline. That's a very good look into it and how it should be running. So take a look at that if you really want to go ahead and see what it is. And by all means, when this opens back up in November for the holiday season, come on down to Florida and go ahead and check it out, because it's going to be, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of people. And at that point, I really don't think you should be worried about the whole coof thing. All right, if you want to take a, if you want to vax max, go ahead. You know what, whatever you want to believe, whether you want to take it or not, I'm not going to get into that. Okay, the only thing I'm going to talk about is this is what we need in this country, right? You want to talk about whatever else. I've already said my piece last stream. I'm not going to get into it anymore. All right, so that's what we're looking at for Brightline, right? And now we have the new train sets coming up over for the Orlando expansion. So they have. So what does this mean? It means that they're getting ready for higher capacity trains, that they're getting ready for new services. They're not only going to have their express services and commuter services within the county area between South Florida for Miami-Dade County, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Broward, and Palm Beach County, but also for express and passenger rail, intercity passenger rail service between Miami, South Florida, and all the way over to Orlando. Okay, so that's going to be a massive amount of people moving in, especially as more people are moving into South Florida. Okay, major companies are moving in. If you heard from, I can't quite remember his name, but I know one of the marketing personnel over in Brightline said that the company, I'm pretty sure you're now very familiar with BlackRock. I've known about BlackRock for years. But BlackRock is actually moving out of New York, and they're moving their oh man, I'm blanking out on the words here. They're moving their headquarters, their HQ, over to one of the Brightline office towers. Okay, so they're going to be based in the station. All right, so the most powerful company, yes, BlackRock is the most powerful. Look, it's either BlackRock or Vanguard that owns a major company in the United States and around the world. Okay, it's usually those two companies. Okay, it's either BlackRock, Vanguard, Berkshire Hathaway. Okay, look this up. I'm just being, honest with you guys. Okay, and a whole bunch of other investment companies, and these investment companies also own each other as well. Okay, how much are they controlling? That's not for me to talk about on this stream. But it just goes to show you, with all these companies moving down out of their very much established headquarters in New York, in places like Manhattan, and moving them down to South Florida, says a lot about where things are going in this country and in South Florida. Okay, will that be good or bad for South Florida later on in the world? I don't know. But let's see. Let's see. All right. Yeah, Siemens and Cummins. Yeah, coincidence. I think not. All right, that was the dirty joke for today. On my thing. Okay, let's look in the comments over here, guys, because there's a lot of comments that have been going on here. All right, and take a look. Wow. Okay. Let's see. Pensy fan. As soon as California high-speed rail gets privatized, that's when progress will speed up greatly. Yeah, probably. What year is the California high-speed rail from San Francisco to Los Angeles and Anaheim going to be completed? You ask this every single time, Ozman. I'm not. I try to be negative, but I can't make it go any faster. It's at this point we're looking into the 2030s. There's no exact date. At this point, Governor Newsom over in California, which, look, there's no surprise that he won that. Anybody who thought that Larry Elder was going to win in California, well, I got a bridge to sell you. A bridge to nowhere that I got to sell you. Anybody who was serious about that is nuts. Probably about as nutters as, thinking that, Trump and Q are going to take back the White House on Thanksgiving. You got to be some level of I don't know what. I don't know. It's just very easy to just make jokes about that. What a disappointment. Why are middle-sized cities in the U.S. investing in trams? The reason why is because they know that higher capacity travel within cities makes sense. It invigorates cities and transit-oriented development for businesses and walkability in those cities. It makes sense when you look at other cities that have tram services and streetcars, and in the United States, the way streetcars were before invigorated and were the lifeblood of cities. When I was in Cincinnati, we went to the Cincinnati Union Terminal and the museum inside. They have the largest scale model of a tram system anywhere. But they have the largest scale model in the world of a tram system there in the museum. And we took videos, and me and Holly did when she was alive and we were there. So that's a video I am trying to make, and I have been trying to make that ever since I came back. It's going to be emotionally hard to go ahead and do that, but I have to do it. We have to keep moving, guys. But yeah. Ruben, hey man, hope you didn't miss. Yeah, I miss you too, Ruben. And for those of you asking about Discord, we'll start getting back on Discord soon. I had something happen with my account, and have things. I will get back onto Discord, and we'll have the call-ins again. So we'll have that going again. Third-party representation, that's, again, I don't think that's going to happen. Look, parties in this country are a waste of time, and they're stupid. George Washington has said this, and most people who have a brain and common sense know that a party system is a mess. Okay, would it be better if we had multiple parties and coalitions within this country than a two-party system? Absolutely. Will it happen in this country? Absolutely not, because of the funding system for our politicians and for political action committees and super PACs, and the way that they work and fund the two parties makes it impossible for any third-party politician to be able to even get to Congress. Okay, the only way that any politician can be able to go ahead and go to third party was that one guy, that one Republican, I think somewhere in the Midwest, who from Minnesota or Wisconsin, I don't quite remember. He was a Republican and then switched to Libertarian, and then promptly left. So again, it's not going to happen. Also, federal trains, if that makes any sense, the regional line sponsored by a local government. Yeah, and I think that will happen. Hey, Dima, didn't Texas Central say they are waiting for the infrastructure bill to pass and extend the needed loans to make their business model feasible? I've been out of the loop on that. I'm going to be quite honest. I'm not quite sure. If anybody has any articles on Texas Central they want me to look at, by all means, intents and purposes, please send them here in the chat, and we'll go ahead and look at it. Let me see. I do have Darius as the moderator here, keeping up things, because he used to be... Holly was keeping things very well in check. So Darius, if you see any links or articles, show every comment, okay? If YouTube tries to block comments or whatever, just show them up here. We don't mind. Let's see any other comments over here. What time is it? 8:41. All right, we're doing all right, guys. Bring government closest to home as possible. The states and local governments are the ones that can do it pretty well. The feds do pretty lousy. Yep, I agree with that, Darius. That's where it's going to be, guys. It's going to be local governments that are going to be making this happen, like we see in Brightline. Okay, is Brightline a private company? Yes, but they're working in conjunction with the government. Again, look, we have a lot of mixture of people in this club. Okay, there are some people who are avowed socialists who are in the American Rail Club. Okay, to that I say you're nuts. There's something wrong with you. Okay, but you're welcome aboard nonetheless. On the helicopter. I'm joking, not on the helicopter. Okay, but nonetheless, you are welcome here, and there's very much a lot of things I do have to say about that. But you're wrong. Okay, that's not an opinion. That's a fact. You're wrong. Okay, the same could be said for those who are libertarian minded. And look, I had a libertarian phase myself. Okay, but honestly, reality doesn't work in a libertarian sort of fashion. Okay, it doesn't work. Okay, keeping wages down to a point and saying, it's going to cause inflation if we increase it. The reality is inflation has been happening and wages haven't been increasing. Okay, that's the reality of that. And there's a lot of other reasons as to why libertarianism and a free market system is very much a disaster as it's been. And the United States was not a free market system. Okay, it was very much a nationalist economy. The first thing when George Washington and the Continental Congress and everybody first started back in the beginning of this country was put in tariffs. Okay, so let's be quite honest about that. Reject electrification, embrace hydrogen. Look, if hydrogen were to develop itself to a point that it would make feasible sense, yeah. But at this point, electricity makes a lot more sense. It's a lot more direct. There's a lot less weight. There's a lot less moving parts and maintenance that's required for a hydrogen train. Can it happen? And do we have it happening? Yeah. Is it Siemens or no? It's another company. I think not Alstom. Shoot, I blanked out on that. But yeah, there are some companies working on that. Nuclear is the cleanest and best mode of power production. Yes, Darius. Let's see who else. Do you know the Virgin Hyperloop is coming to India? They just canceled that over in India, so that's not happening anymore. And that's the best thing for India and the Indians over there. That's going to be a disaster for that country if that were to happen. The average Japanese man is 5'7", 5'2" for women. Yeah, they're kind of they're smaller people over there. I'm just saying that it's not at all any comment that's that's just a stereotype. Let's see any other comments over here. And last comment. Take the time you need, Demetrius. When it's right, it can be dedicated in our memory and honor. Yes, I already dedicated the video on. Well, it doesn't mean that I can't dedicate more, but I did dedicate the video on Little Dark Age of Infrastructure to Holly. Ruben, yeah, you had a libertarian phase. Boy, do you remember my previous political phase? Yeah, you had a rude awakening for that. If you want to tell people what happened, you can say that. Heartless fiend, libertarians are not what they used to be, not the Ron Paul libertarians. Yeah, there needs to be a balance between. Look, capitalism works. Free market capitalism is a disaster. Okay. Socialism is a disaster. It's two sides of the same terrible coin that have been messing up this country. Okay, there needs to be a balance. All right, that's the honest truth. I'm not going to get more into that or anything else into that, but that's for you to go ahead and decide. All right, I'm not going to be talking about it. So speaking of jobs and the economy in this nation. The New York City subway is so desperate for staff that it's reportedly offering retired train operators up to $35,000 for 90 days of work. $35K over in Manhattan is chump change, but that's a lot. It's still a lot of money. But for to get a flat, 1-bedroom studio in some place like the Bronx costs you $2K a month. You don't know. So the New York subway system is suffering from a severe shortage of personnel. By the way, this article came out on September 27th by Dominic Reuter. More than 1 in 10 rush hour trains were canceled in August, the worst rate since at least 2015. Transit officials are offering retired train operators up to $35,000 to work for 3 months per the New York Daily News. All right, so it's they're going into a crunch here. Okay, part of the U.S. labor market's difficulties can be attributed to the CUF motivating older workers to retire earlier than planned. Well, let's be honest, they're forced to retire because there's a lot of code. This happened in my last job. A lot of people were retiring back in May and in June and in April, around that time. People who I knew personally and talked personally in my company, who had no plans of retiring early. They were very much okay and willing to work 10 more years. Okay? But the company went ahead, and a lot of other companies, and this is corporate America in general, forced them to retire. Okay, so what does that mean? Of course, they're not going to get their full pension or anything like that. They're very lucky if they got whatever they got. This happened to my father, and he worked 27 years in the company that he worked for. And when we had a little mini recession during 2016, they basically laid off a whole bunch of people, and they said, "Look, you can take the offer, or we can go ahead and force you out, and you can have nothing." So that's unfortunately the way things work in this country, which is wrong. Okay, that shouldn't. And again, which is why other countries like Japan. Look, it doesn't mean that Japan is this wonderful, magical place like the soy jack meme, where all of a sudden you get this alleyway that's in the middle of like Macedonia, and all of a sudden you add a cherry blossom and it's Japan, and all of a sudden the soy boy face. Okay, Japan's a great place. It's not perfect by all means. Okay, there's a big social aspect there in Japan that is not great for the people over there. The amount of overtime at work, the family structure in Japan has decreased so far to the point, and a lot of men have become weak, effeminate, and they're just playing video games and anime all day long. Okay, that's not good for that country. Okay, and we're seeing the same sort of thing over here, right? The sort of Great Resignation, which has been this has been happening for the last decade or so, since the last recession. Okay, we have not in reality have gone out of the 2008 recession by any means. The country's economy has changed for the worse, and the recent event has only cut off that deck of cards to really show all the rats underneath the non-existent foundation of our country. Because if we can go ahead and print or mint a platinum coin to fix everything, it only says is our money really real? Okay, and the only reason I bring this up, guys, is because infrastructure is real. It's a real asset, right? You can feel infrastructure, you can touch infrastructure. Okay, you cannot really. Okay, let's see. Do I have something over here? Yeah, I do have of course I do carry cash. You should carry cash by all means in case of that. Okay. this is all I'm going to get into over here, okay? This over here, nice, crisp, fresh $20 bill. This is a reserve note, okay? You cannot go to the bank and get silver or gold for this, okay? This is essentially an IOU by IOUs given to banks, okay? Which is why people are saying that, this infrastructure bill could be a lot more damage than help. And I agree with that sentiment. The infrastructure bill is not an infrastructure bill by all means and purposes. Okay, so look at this. So 5,000 fewer workers since the start of the event. The New York Daily News reported. So out of those 5,000 people, about 1 in 5 were subway services that had led to severe complications for the transit system. In August, more than 10% of rush hour trains were canceled, the worst performance since at least 2015. Now, transit officials are offering a sizable pay package to attract retired train operators who have left the MTA. They didn't leave the MTA. They were mostly forced into retirement. Okay, that's what happened. They were forced into retirement because the MTA couldn't pay them. And they weren't at least very much furloughed and given. Look, there's a lot of different ways you can see this. Should they have been kept on the job, and should have there been a way in order to, because it was no 15 days to stop whatever, right? That didn't happen. There was no 2 weeks. There was no anything. We've been at this for a year and a half now, and it's just going to continue. Okay, we're not living with it. There are countries now that are opening up and saying, "Forget it. We're not going to try to, eradicate this thing or whatever. We're just going to have to live with it." Okay, could the United States and some other cities do the same thing? Yes. Okay, is that for me to go ahead and say, is that a thing that we should be doing? That's not for me to say. Okay, is it an option? All I'm saying is it's an option. So in January 2019. There are 3,598 train operators, according to data reported by thecity.nyc, but that figure had dropped 11.5% to 3,182 as of 2021. All right, and that's a big drop, right? Because if you had to have 10% of rush hour trains canceled, 11.5% of train operators gone, that number very much correlates. Because now all of a sudden you're getting a rush of people who are going back to work or whatnot. Whoever's left in New York at this point, there's still a lot of people in New York. Okay, it's a metropolitan area of around 13-14 million people, give or take, maybe less. It's still what we're looking at, 10 to 12 million people. That's still a lot of people. New York City Transit has a critical and urgent need for fully trained and qualified train operators. So they're looking for people who are 25 years old with 35 years of experience and a doctorate's degree. So any of us younglings, any of you young hip millennials and Zoomers who want to go ahead and do this, they're not going to train you. They're only looking for people who are highly trained. If you choose to apply and are accepted, you will be temporarily appointed by NYC Transit for a period not exceeding 90 days, and your gross earnings, which are not pensionable and may not exceed $35,000. So that's why they're not going back to work, because after 90 days they're just gonna kick you out, and after getting a paltry sum, they're not even gonna keep you on there, and especially with the holiday season around the corner, because that's the other thing. We're in October, November, December, okay, which are going to be the 3 biggest months for business out of the year, especially New York. New York is moving along. October, November, December. Okay, I've been there many holiday seasons in the New York area, in Manhattan, in the whole rush of it. Okay, you need a lot of people. Okay, but this is the problem. Look at that. The average New York City worker earned an annual compensation of $75,891 in 2015. That's the average. Okay, so you may have had some people that are earning $50K, which is nothing, and some people may be earning 3 figures depending on their seniority. And how long they've worked in NYC Transit. It's not that much in New York City, unfortunately. Look, it would be better if things were to deflate, right? Okay, because again, I'm bringing the example of Japan because me and my friends went to Japan back in 2017. So that's my experience of what a first world city should look like, right? And it's one of the most advanced cities in the world. Okay, you can get a bottle of water there, a nice big giant bottle of water for like 80 cents. Which in this country, getting that is like $2. To get your bottle of corn syrup, Come on out and drink your corn syrup for $3 in this country. Inflation in this country has been the problem. Okay, you can increase the wages, but the thing is, it's going to keep going up. The problem is inflation. Okay, if you can bring that down, things will settle down to a normal state. The problem is, it's just going like this. This is inflation. This is wages. Okay, inflation keeps going like this. Wages go like that. It's not enough. Daily News previously reported that 58% of MTA workers have gotten at least one shot of the jab, but union representatives say that many members would quit their jobs if to get inoculated. Okay, and that's another thing. At least 171 workers have died of COVID-19. Okay, I'm not going to get into that. That's just information. Okay, there is some good news, at least with New York. They're getting a card. I've been saying this for years. Okay, this is the Suica card. Let me see if I can get this out of here. There we are. It's always been in my wallet since I've been in there. All right, this is what Japan is what they've been using over. In the magical anime land, in the magic weeb land over there, this is what they've been using, right? So how does it work? You go ahead, you want to go ahead. It has ready money on it. It's got like 20, 25 bucks, 30 bucks on there. You go ahead, you tap that, and you're on your way over to the train. Okay, so finally, the MTA has gone ahead and added this on. It's only taken 20 years, right? It's only just 2021. That's how long it's taken for this. Riders can now pay more for a modern Metro card with fewer features. So you have to pay $5 for the card, which is not a big deal. It's about the same price as you get a Suica card. It was maybe like $3 or something like that, 300 or 500 yen, something like that. Yes, our Lord and Savior Suica. So 2 years after launching a pilot for its One Metro New York contactless card fare payment system in 2019, the MTA has finally released the Omni card to the public. That's what they call, I think, is it Octi card, I think, in Hong Kong. It's a very similar type of name, which, by the way, the CEO of the MTR system of Hong Kong was CEO of the MTA for quite a while until he got forced out because, let's put it this way, the work ethic and what he wanted to bring into the MTA and what he wanted to inject into there and adapt into there didn't quite mesh well with the business as usual side of the MTA. So this is the reason why it's like, all we need in these, people say this, all we need to do is put in one person who knows what to do and lead everybody. Well, we did. Or at least the MTA did. The MTA did put somebody who had the experience and had the know-how in order to go ahead and do this. They forced them out. Okay, the issue is the morals and the work ethic within our systems, within places like the MTA and Amtrak. It's going to take a culture change within the systems in order to get anything done. So with that, the MTA does offer as an online user account with past trip receipts and real-time train schedules. The cost of 5 times the price of a Metro card and a lot easier to go ahead and swipe. Because we know there are certain politicians that have an issue going ahead and swiping the peon card. The proletariat card. Who would want to swipe that? There are some politicians that have had issues with that. So this would be a lot easier to get into New York systems. Let's see. So New York cards cost $5, but strap hangers can still use a number of digital methods, including Apple Pay, to access the tap and go system for free. Okay. I don't know if you can use your phone for that with your NFC card, because I know Japan has an NFC system. Because even back in 5 years ago, because we did sit 4 years ago, they've had this for a while that people there with NFC cell phones can go ahead and use their phone to tap into the systems instead of the Suica card or the Passmo card. So tap and go means no more swipes, no more losing your Metro card. Well, if you lose your Omni card, you won't lose your Metro card because you won't have the Metro card. You lose the Omni card. It's a silly thing to say. Former interim transit president Sarah Feinberg, it's New York guys, said last year when announcing every bus and subway turnstile in New York City had been equipped with the Omni payment system. Just bring your own device and you can enter the system with ease. Okay, so I think you can use. Let's look at the Omni site. Let's see what the Omni card says. This is a crappy site. expecting more out of this website. Yeah, this is the website. Well, we can't have our big giant banner across the website. I mean, at least it's simple. Okay, so that's just let me see. Okay, there we go. Tap and go in every borough. Okay, so you can use your smart device. Set up your digital watch or tap your smartphone, smartwatch, or wearable at an Omni reader. No need to do anything in advance. Okay, so that's simple. So you can have people who go ahead and have their Apple Watch, which I'm old school. I always carry just an analog or a digital watch, not a smartwatch. At that point, personally, I think you might as well take out your phone. But that's just me. I'm old school. So yeah, that's very good. Tap your contactless card. Be on your way. You don't need to do anything in advance. So I guess you don't even need to get your Omni card if you have a credit card or a debit card that has a tap and go system. I guess you can use that. All right. Well, this is good, and of course you'll probably tap into the buses as well. You can look at schedules. So here you are: the subway, the bus, the LIRR, the Metro North. Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. All right. So we're good with that. Let's look at the comments over here. Yeah, the rats in the subway, Clarissa Packer. Yeah. Let's see. Let's look at the comments over here. If you guys have any comments or any questions, feel free to go ahead and ask them. Caltrain will start electric service by late 2024. Yeah, because people are asking about Caltrain. Are you going to try to get on the first train from Miami to Orlando? I most likely will, depending on the timing and everything going on. Let's see. I don't know where I'll be when that happens in 2022. Let's see. I hope to God I'll still be here on this planet. Because things can happen, guys. I hope to God that we'll be able to get there and go on board and see where we go from there. Let me see. You're probably thinking of Jesse the Body Ventura. I still don't know who thought it was a good idea to elect the WWE wrestler as governor. No, that was a different person. This was just recently in about 2020, Nano Rock. It wasn't Jesse Ventura who switched to libertarian. I know he is a libertarian, but it wasn't him. True free markets work. No, they don't. Also, inflation had started the moment the Federal Reserve was implanted in the switching of the gold reserve to the petrodollar. Yes. There's nothing else I need to say about that. Let me see. Yeah, we're doing great, Adam. Thank you for asking. $35K for 90 days in New York City. That means you can finally pay for electricity and taxes. Now you need a second job for housing and living. Yeah, that's correct, Ruben. Especially the way things are going in New York. It's that's why people are leaving New York. It's apart from even before all the restrictions and limitations, depending on the event, right? Even before that, people were leaving New York because the job prospects and the cost of living in New York is too high. It's like they say, the rent is too damn high. Okay? That's the problem in New York. That's just what it is. Yeah, one day we'll crack open a cold one again, Ruben, when things get back in order. Let me see. Is Omni compatible with New Jersey Transit? Doesn't seem like it is. It only says New York Subway, New York Bus. It should be. Look, that would make sense, right? Okay, because even in Japan, you can use the Suica card on different JR companies. So this is technically JR East, right? And there is a Pasmo card, which is different. Let me see if I have the Pasmo card here. I should have it here. Let me see. Oh, uh-oh. I don't have my Pasmo card. Uh-oh. Ooh, I don't have my Pasmo card. Yeah, here's guys. This is what that Metro card has looked like in New York. This is the Metro card. It may not look like this now. This is a rather older Metro card. This is from, well, actually, this expires in 2020. But anyway, so yeah, this is what the Metro card looks like compared to what an Omni card will probably look like, or the Suica card. Let's go ahead and just compare to the Suica card. Okay, so you can see this is a little flappy. It's not really it's not really something that you can go ahead and hold. And it was something that, I could rip this very easily. Anybody could rip this very easily. Your grandmother can go ahead and rip this very easily. Suica card, look at that. This is digital gold. This is digitaru kane in Japan. So yeah, that's the difference there. All right, let's go ahead and put this all back over here in my magical drawer. I have something very important I need to talk to you about in this live stream. Well, David, if you have a question or something, if you can, if you're okay with putting it public, you can more or less go ahead and say it. I don't mind. The Great Red Road Trail is a boondoggle and a scam. Okay. Again, I know you've talked about the Redwood Trail. That's something in your neck of the woods. I'm not familiar. Will there be vaccine passports for U.S. rail? There hasn't been any talk about that. Most likely there would be something through the Department of Transportation and the Aviation Administration, the FAA, and the TSA. That will be mostly through the TSA because we know for flying you don't need anything right now. All you need to do is wear your mask in the airport and walk on in. Okay. Will that be required? If most likely they require it for air travel, it will most likely be required for railroad travel. In some places they do, or they are trying to require. I know in some cities and countries they're already requiring it, or forcing to require it for people there. Again, all we can say is that it hasn't done well for transportation, and rail transportation has not caught up because of the COOF economy and the COOF style of living. Okay, it does need to be opened up in order for things to get back to some sort of normalcy, because it wasn't normal before. Let's be honest. If you call this normal, can you use the Omni card on Amtrak? No. That doesn't say anything there about Amtrak. It should be used for NJT, but no, it's not. All right, we're at 9:07 p.m., so we're doing good. We're about an hour and change in, so we're doing all right. But going back to what I was saying, I really went off topic here, didn't I? So this is the Suica Cars by JR East. Is it? Yeah, this is JR East. Yeah, this is East. I can tell because that's that's East. So the card can be used on different systems. Okay, the Pasmo card I believe is by JR Central, so you can use these cards on any system. The only thing is that there may be a little bit of a surcharge, or something in 5 yen or something like that, or 5 cents in American, that you'll need to go ahead and use it. But they are interchangeable. So you can go ahead and use Pasmo, you can go ahead and use Suica. They have all partnered together to have that system to be interchangeable and interusable. Could you have something with OmniCard and the New Jersey Transit, NJT, and other systems, and Amtrak? Yeah, that's very much possible. Chester Wolf the Griffin with the $5 super chat. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate that. SEPTA in Philadelphia is going to scrap their Proterra electric buses. They say they're not fit for purpose and they keep breaking down. That's the problem with electric buses, especially because a lot of older electric buses, electric automobiles are catching up. They will be viable at some point, but they haven't gotten there yet. I know in my city over here in Indianapolis, we do have electric buses. Had they been having some issues? Again, I haven't really taken them. I know I've seen them, and I know that the system is in use. The only thing is that, of course, you have to put on a face mask when you get on, and this is the problem also too. Okay, and I've said this every single stream since this whole thing started. You can get on an airplane and it is packed like sardines. Everybody can go ahead and pack in there like sardines. There is no needed social distancing on airplanes. Unfortunately, or fortunately, or whichever you want to say it, social distancing is forced on bus transit and on rail transit. Okay? So obviously, they're not following those laws. Okay? Or whichever laws. It is not across the board. So either make it across the board where all the airplane companies have to enforce social distancing. That means one person or two people, depending on if it's 3 across or 2 across, per aisle, or whichever, 2 or 3 or 4, whichever it is, per aisle, 1 seat open, or allow buses to also have full capacity too. You cannot have it both ways. It only goes to show that the airline companies have been funding Congress, which they have been. They held Congress hostage and held the country hostage and said, oh, we're going to go ahead and lay off our workers if you don't give us $50 billion. And they went ahead and did it anyway. You don't need a Metal Gear Solid villain to go ahead and threaten the country with a nuke to get even $50 billion. That's beyond Dr. Evil level of... Let's be honest here, okay? The power that private companies have in the on top of the United States Congress and on top of our political system in order to grab that much money out of our own taxpayer money, and then afterwards go ahead and lay off all those workers is insane. That's beyond Metal Gear Solid villain. Okay, let's be quite honest. All right, so yeah, when it comes to electric buses, it will get there to a point where it does make sense. But at this stage, depending on the manufacturers too, because especially when electric vehicles were starting to become popular, when Tesla started to move into, with their Model S, and really start pushing the market for electric cars. Electric cars by other automobile companies were pretty clunky. I mean, they were pretty crappy. You look at the Nissan Leaf and the BMW i3. It was these pathetic-looking electric cars that had that sort of... I don't know if you guys have seen that joke from The Simpsons where they make fun of the electric car. Hi, I'm the electric car. I'm very slow and can't go very far. And if you drive me, people can't say it here on the stream, but you understand what I'm saying. But that was the look of the electric car, and they still kind of kept that look, and the technology still didn't really get up to what Tesla had been pushing it. Now we're starting to see companies where electric cars are starting to actually be fast and actually have a mileage or range where it's up in the 300s and even the 400 miles. That will be something that will work, right? So let's see where it goes with buses, because again, it does take a lot of work to get that going. Oh boy. All right, last comment, and then we're going into the next set of news here, and then we're going to call it a night. The next set of news, it takes a lot of articles because there's a whole story beyond this, and I'm trying to get you guys to see where things are at. All right, so thanks for the stream. This is by Mugi Amagi. Flew out of Orlando a few weeks ago and saw the Brightline shops under construction. Hopefully they make their estimate next year. Yeah, they should. I have no doubt. As long as things are going, let's put it this way. As long as things are going the way that they're going, we'll get there. If there's by any chance some sort of large conflict or some sort of large, let's say, the country goes into lockdown again or something, I don't know, because things can happen. Okay, let's be honest. New Year's Eve of 2019 to 2020, nobody would have thought that this would have happened, right? If anything, somebody was thinking and looking, what was going on in China, back in November and December, and seeing the outbreak of this, of a SARS-like virus, and thinking that the world was going to go into some sort of zombie apocalypse, okay? Maybe that's what anybody was thinking along the lines of any of this. And I know for sure I was thinking that by the end of January, that this is, not zombie apocalypse, but it was going to, I thought that maybe there would be 5 million people dead by July, which is still less than 2% of the population, give or take, in the United States. That's still pretty horrible. But again, we were nowhere near that amount, by the official numbers by the CDC. I'm not going to say what I think of on that. I'm just giving you facts. That's all I'm saying. All right, so our stream is still up. Nothing has happened. We're still here, and let's keep going. So the infrastructure bill spending package will help regain momentum after a jobs report, and a very dismal jobs report at that. Let's go ahead and play this. Give myself a break here. Does this have any music or something? Or Or anybody? No, this is just one of those like Facebook type of videos that they just put on words here. Okay. Oh no, this is not even compared. This has nothing to do with the video. It's just about Brandon's approval rating, or Joe Biden. Yeah, that let's go Brandon thing. That's ridiculous. That's all I'm gonna say about that. President Joe Biden pushed key pieces of legislative agenda after the latest jobs report from September signaled another slow month in the country's economic recovery. It's essential that we have to regain the momentum, Biden said in a Friday speech. That's why I proposed 2 critical pieces of legislation being debated here in Washington right now. One, to focus on investments we need to make physical infrastructure in America, the INVEST Act, or HR Bill 3684. The second focuses on the investments we need to make in the American people to make us more competitive. That's the other infrastructure bill, which works on human infrastructure, which is, again, a kind of an issue here, which I don't agree with the way these infrastructure bills are written. There should only be separate bills concerning every single, just one part of infrastructure. Make one for roads, pass that. Make one for rail, pass that. Make one for wastewater, pass that. Make one for internet, pass that. They should not be past 50 pages. They should contain, your 5 W's. You learned this in first grade, right? Remember we were all taking articles and doing summaries? Well, at least for us late 90s kids and early 2000s kids. Oh God, there are some of you in here that weren't even born, on September 11th. I'm getting old. I'm gonna be turning 28 this year. This month. Now I see what Holly felt like. What is not included in the infrastructure bill? I don't know. Everything in there from tax legislation to crypto legislation, a whole lot of things in there which should not be in there. Let's be honest. The unemployment rate did drop from August 5.2% to 4.8%, the lowest since February 2020. But those figures have largely been from Americans leaving the workforce. Finally, somebody has said it, because this is what we've been saying for a while, right? And this is from Newsweek. Okay, so finally, it's been happening that people are figuring this out, right? The unemployment rates are BS. Okay, so last stream back in September, I showed you guys this website. I should call it Shadow Government Stats, okay, or Shadow Stats, okay. So according to this guy, the real unemployment rate in September 2021 is 25.1%. Because the problem with the unemployment rate in this country is that they changed the official U3 report. It used to be the U6 reporting, what they called it. And what they did was they changed it in certain ways. They made some sort of weird magic and mathematics to go ahead and say, well, people who aren't looking for a job or who have been out of the workforce for a set number of period aren't counted as unemployed anymore. People who are only working part-time and very well underemployed don't count as unemployed, and they're employed, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? In reality, the real unemployment rate in this country is somewhere between 25 and 30%. Okay, so that means a third of every person or so, either a fourth or a third of every person or so, of every working age person is unemployed, which is a lot of people. Okay, we're talking about half the country if we're talking about children added, and then especially working age males, which are the bulk of any nation's workforce, and then you have females that are also put into there, which are part of the workforce. It's still a very much, the country hasn't really recovered. And you see over here, look, 1995, we're going through the 90s, the dot-com bubble crash happens, and 9/11 happens, 1-2 whammy, and you have a jump in unemployment. But if you see here, like since the 1990s, since the Clinton, towards the end of the Reagan, the Bush era, and then toward the Clinton era, you really had unemployment. Yeah, it started to go down as things started to settle down, but then you had that happen. Toward the Bush era, it goes up. It starts going down again as things start to level off. And then the housing bubble happens, and then you have over here. Throughout the Obama years, it's just kept stagnating. It just stayed up a little bit and didn't really go down. It was only when they were looking at the U6 report and saying, "Oh, look, it's going down," you know, and the U3 report, "Oh, the unemployment rate is going down." I can say with confidence that the unemployment rate is going down, and it wasn't really. And then we have here we go, 2017. The unemployment rate it's going good. We're employing everybody. Are employing the lowest black unemployment rate, the lowest Hispanic unemployment rate, the lowest women unemployment rate, and it went down a little bit. And then the thing happened, and look at that, up to 35%. This is the reality, folks, okay? So why am I talking about this? Why am I talking about unemployment rate when we're talking about infrastructure? Because it's important, okay? Because the president over here is talking about that we need the infrastructure bill in order to regain momentum. But are we really going to regain momentum? Now, it went up for, quite a bit, and then it went back down. I honestly think we're still around in this area. Again, the shadow stats is kind of pegged over to what the original stats before the U3 and the U6 and some other stats reports were put on there. But that's really, a more looked at way for that. And again, we can look at inflation. And it used to have, let me see if I can go ahead and put up a CPI calculator over here. So let's talk about, let's say, for example, what was the price of a new car of a Chevy Bel Air in 1957 was what, $5,000, right? So let's go ahead and put in, again, I'm just playing around so you guys can be able to see this, and I'm trying to sober you guys up because you guys need to understand where things are at. Okay. So a Bel Air, let's say a new Bel Air with all the bells and whistles from Chevrolet for, be $5,000, right? In today's money, that's close to $50,000, okay? This was a car that most people could afford, okay? A Chevy Bel Air. And if you didn't want that, you can, get a used Bel Air because people at that point were pretty well off. My grandfather knew people who had the 1957 Bel Air and then sold that for like $200 and then bought another Bel Air. He sold his Bel Air in the 60s for like $200, $300. And my mom was always ticked off about that because she loved the Bel Air. So that's in reality. What would it really cost? Inflation wise. What's the reality of what $5,000 really are? And that's a shadow stats. Again, you have to be. I was subscribed for a while, but let's be honest. A $5,000 car back then is probably close to around $200,000. And I know for sure that inflation has been happening. Okay. I shop at Aldi and I shop it around at other places. I know that last year during the summer, before the inflation started to kick up, a dozen eggs were about 82 cents. Okay. Now the last time I went to Aldi, they were $1.52. It's gone up about 100. Close to 100%. It's gone up 90%, right? Or 95%. Yeah, it's about 95%. Because it would be about like 164 if it went up 100% from 82 cents for a dozen eggs. Okay, so it's gone up a lot. Okay, and we're not even close. Okay, because if this silly thing happens with this $1 trillion platinum coin, imagine that. If you could go ahead and I could just go ahead and make this right now and say, let's say for example, here we go. Where's this penny from? This is a 1982 penny. I will go ahead and say arbitrarily this is now worth $1 trillion. Boom. That's really what the U.S. government is doing, guys. This is what's going on. So of course there was a temporary raising on the debt ceiling because we're fast and quickly approaching that. If you guys want me to play around with the calculator, I will. What was the cost of a house in the 60s and 70s? Let me see. I'll look at that. We'll go ahead and play around with that. Chester the Wolf again. Thank you with another $5 super chat. Thank you, man. What numbers are not adding up? We're not seeing what they're telling us. You'll know what I'm talking about. We're being lied. Rules for them, but not for... rules for us, but not for them. Yeah, rules for thee, but not for me. That's exactly right, Chester Wolf. Look, this is honest, and this is what we're all saying. It's become mainstream now, okay? Even anybody who's a mainstream conservative or mainstream liberal knows that there's something deeply wrong with our economic system here in this country. It is not turning out well. And this is not going to help it. But let me talk about this Great Resignation. Because and a lot of this is due to burnout, right? Because the way people are right now, it just doesn't, or the way people are working right now is very unnatural. It's a very unnatural way of work. People are getting burnt out. What was that? I remember back in 2008 or so. I remember because my parents had Fox News all day, every day in the house. They don't now anymore. They have like Newsmax or OAN now in the house. I don't watch TV, and I don't watch any of those cable news networks because it's always they're all owned by the same 5 or 6 companies anyway. So they're all BS anyway. But Disney, which is again probably the largest media company in the world, when Disney was laying off its workers. A, they were working them to the bone, and then B, they were now getting workers from outside the country, and then forcing the workers over there that if they wanted their severance packages and everything else, that they got to go ahead and train their workers, the new workers now coming in to replace them. They were probably getting paid 25% of what they were originally, the original workers were getting paid, and doing that. That if in an economy that makes sense, that's looking out for the country, that would be illegal. That should not happen. And I'm pretty sure Walt Disney has been spinning his ashes because he was cremated. Okay, they don't have. Well, let's put it this way. Of course, the theory is that they have Walt Disney's head in a jar or something like that. They have him frozen or something like that. I don't know. But according to the official report, he was cremated, and he's ashes. So I don't know. I guess Walt Disney's ashes are definitely spinning around like a twister if you were to see his company right now. But let's look at that. Somebody wanted to see what the cost. Adam, okay, wanted to see the cost of the house. Let's go ahead in 1965 average cost of a house. Okay, so I'm just taking the first. Let's take the first article over here. So this is Gateway Arch. How much would it cost to live in 1965? And this was back in 2015. The new house costed $21,500 in 1965. Okay, the average cost of a house in 2015 is $34,100. Okay, price of a new car $2,650. Yeah, I was. Let's put it this way. I was joking about. I was way off about $5,000. No, because a new Bel Air was about $2,000. Back in 1957. You know what I was confusing with? There was a Volvo ad for like a Volvo sport car that I saw back in the 1950s, and I said, "Oh, look, $5,000." That's what got into my head. So let me retract that, guys. $5,000 was not the cost of a new Bel Air back in 1957. I apologize. My mind slipped over there. But the price of a new car in 1965 was $26,050. An average cost of a new car now is $40,000. Price of gas, 31 cents. Price of a stamp, 5 cents. Price of a loaf of bread, 21 cents. Price of a dozen eggs, 53 cents. Wasn't that, I guess it's not that bad, what it was last year. Price of a gallon of milk, 95 cents. Price of a hamburger with fries, salad, and dessert. Were they even giving salad with burger back then? $1. Price of beer, 99 cents. That's what makes sense. 99 cents for a 6-pack of beer. That sounds like a deal. Price for a can of hairspray, 47 cents. You guys get the joke. So $21,500 for a new house. So let's put that in our magical calculator over here. Because of course we know the price of a house. There's some houses there that 2-bedroom houses that are going for $700,000 in some cities in the United States. I'm not kidding. In places like Vancouver and in Canada, it's been pretty awful, to say the least. 1-bedroom house is going for $1 million, and again, because you have a lot of Chinese coming in and buying up a lot of the properties over there, so that's not good. Okay, so $21,000 in 1965. To the nightmare year of 2021, it definitely has been a nightmare year. $186,000 in reality. well, use your imagination of what that is, because you'd be hard pressed to find a house right now for 186,000. And look, let's. Here's another thing, guys, of what I've been saying about jobs, even before COVID or the COOF. I'm gonna lose my thing here. Even before this whole thing of this Great Resignation, there's been an issue, and I know this because I've applied to at least, I would say, 100 jobs. I've gotten a call back from maybe 2, and then they put me into the process and then haven't heard back from them. At the very least, we want to hear back from these jobs to say, sorry, we didn't, we moved on with the process, or we hired somebody else. You're even lucky if you get that. But this is the problem, because HR companies and companies nowadays, this is the way they treat people. They ghost candidates. If you're familiar with the term ghosting, it's a dating term when, one of the other party goes ahead and replies to you with a hey or a smiley or not much, and then they get mad that you didn't reply to them, and then they wonder why a certain gender doesn't like them or doesn't talk to them. We all know who we're talking about, because we're all 98% male over here. Let's be honest. But yeah, ghosting is a thing. So data suggests both employers and employers are ghosting each other more than normal during the pandemic, but it's happened before. So a recruitment firm has launched a campaign encouraging companies to stop ghosting job applicants. Okay, so there's a campaign in the UK that's happened because, look, companies keep doing this. Look at this. How many of you are familiar with this? Did you get the job? Don't know. Had interviews, chased 3 times, no reply. How many times has this happened? Look at this. 65% of applicants have been ghosted by a prospective employer partway through the recruitment process. 94% of ghosted applicants retain negative thoughts or feelings toward the employer brand. 86% of ghosted applicants are left feeling down or depressed. 43% of ghosted applicants, get out of my way, take several weeks or even months to move on from the experience. I don't care. I don't take it personally because I know most of these companies are lying and they don't care. And they say that you're family here in this company. We treat you like family here at ABC Corporation. I do want to give you guys a movie recommendation. I know I've said it before. Go watch Office Space. Watch Office Space. And that was done back in 2000 or 1999. I remember when Holly first showed me. I know I heard of the movie and I've seen clips of it, but I'd never seen it from beginning to end. And Holly was the one that pushed me to see it after I got laid off the first time from Cummins, because it was definitely exactly how it felt in that company. Yeah, and this is the thing, because HR companies now and the way that their applicant system is set up is awful. Okay, so again, it has to do with the way that our corporate culture is in this country. You can go ahead and put in the Augustus of companies and the man who's going to fix everything, and like we seen in the MTA, right? You can put in the best man possible for the job, and he's not going to be able to fix things because the culture of companies and the culture of the climate here in the United States does not want to do it. And this is why especially millennials are burnt out. Okay, it hasn't worked. Let me see. Daniel Sal told Insider that there were still 3.7 million missing quits. That basically means that if not for the COOF, 3.7 million people would have quit their job by then. So the people are already burnt out from working. And this is what's been happening right now. And a lot of people are looking to quit their job. A lot of people are looking to move. And employers don't really care. Let's be honest. They say a couple things, just like Congress. You'll have a billion of the same platitudes over and over again, and nothing happens. Speaking of platitudes, this infrastructure bill. Okay. We've covered this infrastructure bill multiple times. I'm sick of it. I don't want to go ahead and see how many pages is it now. Let's go ahead and look at the text over here. Let's see. Let's open up the PDF. I'm surprised I even got this in a 3 megabyte PDF. So how many pages are we at over here? 2,740 pages of a bill. Yeah, that's what we're at over here. And again, it's including everything. What's over here? Authorizations and programs. You have everything from the Alaska Highway to wildlife crossing safety, which are all important things. Bicycle transportation, etc. Okay, that sounds like infrastructure planning, performance management, transportation planning. All right. Project delivery and process improvement. Not a big section, and it's not really that descriptive either of saying, when and when needs to be said. Okay, so I was talking about this before during the stream, and then I got sidetracked. Back in the first grade and kindergarten and all that, you learned the who, what, when, where, why, and possibly how, right? The 5 W's, okay? So you said who, okay? Who's doing what, right? Let's say Amtrak, okay? Amtrak, what? What are they going to do? Build a, let's say, 200 mile an hour bullet train system, full-on high-speed rail system between New York and Boston. When? By the year 2035. Who, what, when, where? Okay, where between? Okay, well, we said New York and Boston. Why? Because of the necessary need for higher capacity rail system and for moving people around within the Northeast Corridor. How? How are they going to do it? And the how is going to be the really important part, because they're not really talking about the how. The only how that they talk about here in these 2,740 pages is throwing money, right? So just basically going like this, and let's be honest, okay, because it doesn't happen like this. The government is not going ahead and opening up their pocketbook and throwing money at the problem. They're not doing that, okay? What they're doing is they're going ahead and saying, well, we need more money, so let's go ahead and get this. And bring out the printer, right? Let's go ahead and let's make, this is what we're going to do. Okay? This is what the U.S. government does. Okay? I think I can, not that heavy. This is the U.S. government, guys. Here we go. Let's see if we got, if he'll copy. All right. Oh, we need to go ahead and fund the project. Well, here we go. Let's go. Here we are. Here we are. Come on. Come on. There we go. All right. I'm not gonna waste any more paper, but that's really what's going on, guys. This is what happens. And I've said it before. The Federal Reserve is neither federal nor reserve. So that's what's going on. This is the reality. All right, so we got stuff about climate change over here, grants for charging and fueling infrastructure, carbon reduction program, congestion relief program. I'm surprised this section isn't bigger, because with the way they keep talking about climate change over and over again. Miscellaneous, highway trust fund, transfer and sale of toll credits. These are things that they should be their own separate bills. These should not be all jumped up into one giant bill. Buy America, which is an important thing. These are important things that are not being taken care of. Blood transport vehicles, pollinator-friendly practices on roadsides and highway rights-of-ways. Yeah, there are specific sections and laws of blood transport vehicles. There's no joke. Research, technology, and education. National motor vehicle per mile user fee. This is Title II. I know I said I wasn't going to look into this, but you know what? We're here. We're just going to look in the table of contents, and if you guys want me to look at something, we'll go ahead and do that. It's 9:38, so we're going to call this a day at 10 o'clock, because obviously looking at this thing, in reality, it does make me sick. Research, technology, and education. Yeah, that's all important, but that doesn't need to be in a bill like this. Research, technology, development, and employment. A bunch of buzzwords and platitudes all, shoved into here. Transportation Access Pilot Program. Honestly, that's just a whole bunch of English words just jumbled up together that make no sense to put together. That's all. This is all that's going on. Definition of Secretary, Indian Affairs. Environmental reviews for certain tribal transportation facilities. Bureau of Indian Affairs road maintenance program. Study of road maintenance on Indian land. In all honesty, should that be in a transportation bill that needs to do with this? I'm pretty sure we already have laws on that. Surface Transportation Investment Act, Title I Multimodal Freight Transportation, Title II Rail, so grants to Amtrak, which they're only getting $66 billion, which is really not that much. And I know that Alan Levy and some other and somebody else was saying that it could be done for cheaper. But let's be honest, if Amtrak was given a complete blueprint of what to do and how to fix things, they still wouldn't follow it, and it still wouldn't happen, because the culture and work ethic within Amtrak is not going to require it, because they're still business as usual. It needs to take a lot of work and a change in the way that we all think of here. This is why we're running the American Rail Club, because we need people who are not only passionate but also educated. Okay, you can go a lot with passion, but if you're going passionate and you're hitting a wall and you're just slamming your head into the wall, the only thing you're going to do is put a dent, and you're just going to color the wall red. You're not getting anywhere, and you're going to end up with a massive headache, if not a hemorrhage. So that's all that passion does, right? But if you're intelligent, and not only the passion, knowledge, and I would also say direction, okay? Because you can have knowledge, but if the knowledge is to a wrong direction, it's not going to get anywhere, right? You're gonna put things down. So we have Amtrak reforms, which are basically they're just rewriting Amtrak all over again. They just shoved it over here and changed some things about Amtrak. Intercity passenger rail policy, rail safety, a whole bunch of things about rail safety, motor carrier safety, highway and motor vehicle safety, research and innovation, which is a whole bunch of money, and they're probably going to fund things like the Hyperloop and all of that, hazardous material, general provisions. At this point, you might as well go ahead and rewrite the whole country's code of transportation. Look at this: sport fish restoration and recreational boating safety. Is that something that should really be in an infrastructure bill? Honestly, no. Transit, okay, so we have things about transit. Energy, a whole lot of things about energy. There's things on cybersecurity on energy, because the grid is very much running on, as we've seen in places, the grid can very much be hacked because some dummy went ahead and opened an email about hello sir, please see sexy girls here, open email, and all of a sudden puts in please give me password to your company, and go ahead and do that. People are that stupid and working, and they're getting paid more than you and me. Let's be honest. Supply chains for clean energy technologies. Really? Earth Mapping Resources Initiatives, National Cooperative Geological Mapping Program. It's just words mashed in together, for something saying that, we're looking for minerals and resources. That's all you're saying. Fuels and technology infrastructure. These are all things that should be their own bill. If you want to go ahead and look at investing into different technologies, go ahead and put that in a different bill. Look at this. Nuclear energy infrastructure. That all it gets like is 3 programs. Infrastructure planning for micro and small modular nuclear reactors. Yeah, that's all great and all, but we've been talking about this for years, and it's going nowhere. Look at that. There's more sections here talking about hydrogen than nuclear energy. And hydrogen is nowhere near the level of investment technology and maturity that nuclear energy has. You're ridiculous to keep thinking that, we're going to, we'll just, do it through hydrogen or whatever. Give me a break. Energy Information Administration. It keeps going on and on and on. This should be like its own energy bill at that point. These need to be separate bills. These titles do not belong in one giant bill that is taken up for, as some sort of, hostage, that we're taking this whole country hostage because everybody's got to have something on there. Let's be honest. The politicians aren't adding it onto here. It's the lobbyists for whatever different companies are going ahead and asking the politicians to throw into there. And we all know that both sides are corrupt and they're not doing anything. Natural resources related infrastructure, wildfire management, and ecosystem restoration. Couldn't that have been, in the previous title? Western water infrastructure. This is stuff that shouldn't be look at it, drinking water and wastewater infrastructure. Drinking water, clean water. Yeah, that's very important. If it's important, it should be in its own bill. Broadband. Broadband affordability. This is just the table of contents, guys. Telecommunications. Look, it goes to show you how messed up our infrastructure system is and what all ties to infrastructure. I know we're the American Rail Club, and we're mostly very much well focused on passenger rail infrastructure, but you don't have working passenger rail infrastructure without the rest of it. Okay, the reason why we focus on passenger rail infrastructure is that's because that's the thing that you see, right? It's the billboard, it's the movie trailer, the whole sexy thing that you see before everything else, right? Because when you see, a car or something like that, you don't see all the electronics and all the gears and everything else that has to go into the belts and electronics and all the chips and systems that goes into making a working car. Okay, you have miles and miles of wires within cars to make it work. Okay, the same thing with an infrastructure system. It's a whole lot of things that go together in order to make this work. You have byproduct pilot programs, cybersecurity, public-private partnerships. Just doesn't even look at that. It doesn't even get that much value for money analysis. That's all they get. Build America, Buy America. There's a lot of things here. Make it America, buyamerica.gov. I'm sorry. Is there really? Look at that. There's establishment. There's a whole subtitle here talking about, and there's at least 12 different sections, a dozen sections here talking about how to make the website. This is in the bill. We're going to make a website for buyamerica.com. Really, you have to put that in the bill? You have to look at it. You have to put more subsections for that than public-private partnerships. Public-private partnerships only gets one section, but the buyamerica.gov website gets at least 12 different sections. Give me a break. Highway Trust Fund, Chemical Super Fund, Customs User Fees. God, look at this. It just keeps going on and on. Existing initiatives, general provisions, labor, health, and human services, and education and related. That's not infrastructure. Department of Interior, Environment and Related Industries, Department of Homeland Security. It just keeps going on. Minority Business Development Grants, Rural Minority Business Center Program, Minority Business Enterprises, blah, 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 blah. Okay, finally we go on. And it's not to say that it's just that. Because there's a lot of other things that are into here, right? We've seen things that have cryptocurrency and tax regulation is all tied into there. It's different sections that they're all just mashed in and hidden inside there. This is just trash. 2,740 pages. It makes a nice bulletproof vest. I'll tell you that much. You can probably stop a 50 caliber bullet, 2,750 pages. But let's be honest, guys. This is not going to fix anything. And if you think that you're bad because and we talk about this. We think people are immature because they're in college and then they go ahead and procrastinate their 12-page report the last day or the last hour, the last night before it's due, right? But imagine an entire government that does that. That the minute before everything is supposed to happen, before the debt ceiling goes up, they're going ahead and asking the professor if they can get an extension. And they're getting the whole entire class, instead of actually working on the report, they're all getting together and working on getting an extension for the report. This is how our government works. Our government is no better than a 19-year-old in college who's procrastinating on his work, or a high schooler who's procrastinating the night before. Let's be honest, that's what it is. And then they're coming out with a whole bunch of crap, all the work that they should have done in the year, because they're going to get a failing grade. The professor is giving them one more chance to go ahead and bring in all the reports that they should have done for the rest of the year and give them in before the date of the finals. That's our government. That's the way they're working. And meanwhile, this is the way things are going. And this is where we're gonna, kind of end it over here, guys. This is where we're at. Things are just, we're at trillion. The human mind can very well visualize up to probably 10,000, right? The number 10,000. Past that, it has a little bit of trouble. Most people, but I'm not saying that, there's some people like super geniuses there that can go ahead and mathematicians and rocket scientists and people that work at NASA and all these other places, which I don't know. NASA hasn't even been able to get us to the moon anymore. So I wouldn't doubt that, maybe SpaceX. Because let's put it this way, NASA doesn't have the same people that are working there. Not to say that the people working at NASA are not smart, but the NASA and the agency as a whole is not the same NASA as it was before. But we're at $28 trillion. So imagine that. Imagine 900 and imagine $1,000 million. That's $1 billion. And then imagine 1,000 of $1,000 million, right? So we're talking about 10,000 millions, and that's $1 trillion. And then we're talking about 28,000 millions into a trillion. We're at 29 trillion. Okay, when back in 2016, before this, we were at 20 trillion, right? This was 2016 in of October 2016 of October 9th. Okay, this is where the debt was at that point, and we had the same thing. They had to go ahead and push the debt ceiling. Okay, and in 10 years we've added, less than 5 years, we've added close to $10 trillion. Okay, where was it in 2012? It was around, I believe, 15. Yeah, it was around $15.7 trillion. Okay. Let's look at 2008. It was at 10. Okay, so it just keeps growing at a kind of exponential rate in a sense. 2004 we were at 7. Year 2000 we were at 5.6. 1990 we were at 3.1. On this day in 1990, and around 1980. We were not even at $1 trillion. We were at 916 billion. This is the way things are going. So look at this debt per citizen in 1980. Okay. Let me see. 10, 19. So this was at near the end of Jimmy Carter's administration. The debt per citizen, if everybody paid, every citizen in the United States paid $4,220, and the population back then was what, maybe 200 million. That was doable. Like that's not going to really happen. If the government were to go ahead and ask for every citizen to pay that wouldn't happen, because we're talking about everybody from babies to 7-year-olds and everybody else is doing it. It's just talking about it as a hypothetical and per person per capita, right? That's what we're talking about. Okay. We're looking at 2021, the debt per citizen in a country of around 350 million people, $86,705. Oh man, yeah, maybe it would be for the best if if let's say Florida or other states say, we don't want to, we're done with that. We don't want to pay that $1 trillion. What would that say? I'm just saying hypothetically, if a certain state were to leave the union, and have their own way, right? Because everybody's on the hook for this, and the only way to win is not to play. The only winning move is not to play, right? And again, this means nothing. In all honesty and sense, because it's the Federal Reserve that gives it out. I know I'm talking a lot about economics here, but it has to do with everything that we're talking about. And for the President of the United States to go ahead and say that $3.6 trillion is in actuality going to be $0 is A, dangerous, apart from misleading, and B, irresponsible, extremely irresponsible, to say that it will cost nothing. That's why so many people are in debt, guys. because you know, it's here today, and then tomorrow you're going to be paying, you know, 26% interest rates, you know, to go ahead and buy a candy bar or you know, something, or buy a new car over and over again because you know, you don't want to change the tire or the tying belt. You know, oh, it's reached 100,000 miles, time to throw it away. You know, we really need to think where this country is going. This is what counts as assets. These are real assets here. This is tangible assets. This is what makes a country. Is having this, you know, not this doesn't make a country. You know, this is nothing. This is temporary. You know, that doesn't make or break you. Okay, what you physically make and what you do on this planet to really give to other people and to allow other people to have a good life is what makes it. This is what we're looking at. Okay, because if it were not for Brightline, if it were not for this, you wouldn't have people working. You wouldn't have this happening here. You know, this wouldn't be happening. So we really need to look at what's, you know, what really matters in this country if we really want to get people back to work. This is what does it. Not just throwing money, but a concrete plan. Because that's what Brightline started with. They started with a concrete plan. We want to service these two communities of South Florida and Central Florida by, you know, back then when it was all aboard Florida, they wanted to do it. We'll get it done by the year 2015. Okay? That was a who, what, when, where, why, how. How we're going to do it? Well, we need about $2 billion, and we need to go ahead and ask the Florida FDFC, the Florida Development Finance Committee, to allow this amount of private activity bonds. And we're going to go ahead through Siemens and go ahead and get the rolling stock from Siemens. And we're going to go ahead and we have our right-of-way, and we're going to go ahead and extend our right-of-way. And we're going to work with these communities in order to go ahead and make these these crossings to be able to make them smoother and safer. And we're going to go ahead and have quiet zones, and the train's going to reach this, you know, it's going to go this speed and this speed, you know, over here in these sections according to the certain laws and whatnot. They had a who, what, when, where, how, when, why. Within this entire bill, there is nothing that says what this country is going to have in 20 years. Nothing exists in this bill that gives a concrete plan of where this country needs to be within 20 years or 10 years. Okay? Heck, again, 20, 25 years. Okay? Because the Barack Obama said when Joe Biden was vice president, okay, they said that, you know, we want to have high-speed rail for 80% of the country by the year 2025, right? Or 25 years or something like that. We're nowhere near that. We're nowhere near that, okay? And people say, oh, but, you know, Obama couldn't do it and blah, blah, blah. No country could be able to do that. BS. Because the same year that Obama, or around the same time that Obama was elected, China really started their high-speed rail program, okay? 2007, 2008, they had a 20-mile connection between, I believe, Xinjiang and Beijing, or an area around, an exurb around Beijing. 20 miles or so, right? Or 20-something miles or so. Okay? Within 10 years, all right, or within the same amount of time that Obama, in 8 years, Obama was through his 2 terms, okay, China got more high-speed rail lines than the rest of the world combined and doubled. Okay? It means that there's something wrong with our system. It doesn't mean that China's system is the best system. By all means, it's not. But there's definitely something wrong with ours. It's not working. It's not getting us to what we need here as a country. Okay? Certain municipalities and certain states are have it going. Okay? Because there is at least a working sort of communication, at least between companies and the government. That's what needs to happen. There needs to be a balance between the two. Okay? You can't have no government and complete anarchy, because that doesn't work. Okay? You can read all your libertarian, professors and whatnot. If anything, if you're honestly a libertarian, if you haven't moved on to Hans Hermann Hoppe and that sort of line of thinking, you're still at baby stage. Okay, you haven't really read into what it really means, because it kind of throws everything downwards. Just talking about political theory, and that's the thing, theory. Okay, what works in theory does not actually work in reality unless it has been working. We see what works. Okay, we see that Brightline works. A private company working with the government works. That works. It's and literally people, it works. People are working. Okay, we don't see the same sort of thing happening in other places. Okay, people are not working to the same degree. And California, yes, they're building something, but it's been 10 years. Okay, it's been 10 years. They still have not laid track. They're just laying viaducts and whatever. And yes, I know they're working, they're doing something. We wish the best for California. But compared to Florida, and yes, I know Florida has already had it there, but people are going to see the reality. They're going to see this, okay? Which is funny because they're building this in California's backyard. They're building this, outside of Sacramento. So they're building this, and this is what Florida is getting. California doesn't have anything running, okay? And I know, but they have to do this and that or whatever, or blah 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 blah. Okay, no more platitudes, no more none of that. Okay, we have to get serious. Okay, this is what happens. So that's where we're on, guys. This is the reality of things. I don't think any other infrastructure person and any other guy, they're going to be nice about it because they want to get views and whatnot. Not to say that they're all, they're not all at all bad guys or anything like that, okay? But honestly, not looking at the urgency, and they're not, I would say this, and I'm being completely honest. I think I'm the only one here that's being honest about where things are going. There's been very few people that have maybe touched upon or scratched the surface of where things are going. But I don't know, if you guys know that there's somebody else that's being serious about this, by all means, let me know. And yeah, I'm passionate about this. Darn straight, I'm passionate about this. For many different reasons. And I've been this passionate even before Holly's passing. For a long time. Have I been consistent with making videos and informing people as much as I should be? Absolutely not, and that's my fault. Okay, I've owned that every single time I've said that. I should be making more videos. There should be weekly videos, and I should be delegating more so all you guys can have a voice and say things too. If I'm wrong about something, let me know. If you have a different opinion of ways things can work or a different viewpoint, let me know. All right, we're a club. We're here to talk and discuss. Okay, so that's why we have the chat open. That's why I allow everything to be said. And that's why we have, Discord chats and whatnot. No other, infrastructure type channel that I know of does that, where they have streams and have Discord and have talks with people from all over the world. Okay? Because of the technology we have, we can do that. So we have to go ahead and look at that. So yeah. That's where we're at right now. We're at 10:02. I believe at 10:15 we'll go ahead and cut it off there. So let's look at the comments and relax over here. I know what I said is it's been out of that's kind of where we are, guys. I'm being honest. Adam Bucer, how does the hiring system work? All right. So how this hiring system works in the United States? How it used to work before. Let's go how it used to work before. When my dad was my age, all he had to do was go ahead and walk into a place that either a friend knew about or a person that he knew within his social circle knew about. Walk into the place, and this is literally a story that he told me at one of his first jobs that he got. It was a manufacturing facility, I think for perfume or for men's cologne or something like that. And he was sitting there doing the interview. The owner of the factory comes up to him, during the interview, Shakes his hand, literally there, the meme of, you have to go up with the guy and shake his hand and look him right in the face, that boomer tier meme. That's literally what happened with my dad. He got up there, and the guy showed him around the factory and talked to him and said that, my dad has a head on his shoulders, well, he's very smart, and I know for sure my dad is a very intelligent person because I'm a very intelligent person. The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. So thank you, Dad, for your smarts and your good genetics. But the thing is, that's what happened. And the guy asked him, was like, okay, great. Can you come in tomorrow? Yeah. And that was it. That's how it worked. There was no, you have to go to the woman with the nose ring and the purple hair is working in HR. And then she'll go ahead and tell you to go ahead and apply on the website. And you have to go ahead and do the same thing. And here's how it works now. You go ahead, you go through the website, you look through what open jobs that they have. On those open jobs, they're going to go ahead and have job requirements. And these job requirements, they're looking for a person who's around in their mid to late 20s, who has, this amount of, 10 years experience, who has this, that knows about the same amount of knowledge that about 5 different people in the department would know. Okay? So these are totally ridiculous requirements, that people would not know. Here, you know what? Let's go through it. And I know I don't want to pick on a certain company, but let's go ahead and let's say Rolls-Royce. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and look at Rolls-Royce because this is another company that I've applied for. So this is how it works, right? Let's see. Let's go through careers. Okay, not Rolls-Royce auto cars. Give me Rolls-Royce engines. Let's see. Civil aerospace. Here we are. I'm trying to get you guys an example real quick, guys. But basically, if you're in the same market, you know where things are going. This is unsustainable for ways of where things are going. Okay, so we are. Let's say I can't even find it here. There we are. Okay. So let's look at here. Okay, so let's say you want to work at Rolls-Royce, guys, right? Okay, this is every company. I'm not picking on Rolls-Royce. I'm just saying this is where things are at. All right, so you're at Rolls-Royce career. Okay, so let's go ahead. Well, blah, 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 platitudes. We treat you like family. Here, look, happy faces, works of joy and open seating. You don't even have your own workspace. This is where they at. We got bean bags and coffee and donuts, guys, and we have a dartboard. Look, discover more. How about we empower people? Okay, fine. I want a job. Can I please get job? Play. Here's some BS work. Discover stories or offer locations. I want to apply. There you are in the top right corner. Apprenticeships and school leave. Interns and graduates. Professionals. Okay, so let's say you're a graduate, right? So go ahead. And interns and graduates, by the way. So interns, they don't really pay you, or they pay you very much, like on the bottom end. All right, so let's look at United States of America. There's only 2 positions open. There's a STEM graduate development program in Rolls-Royce in Indianapolis. All right, so here we are. So you're not even your graduate development program. Okay, so you're not even a full-time employee. Okay, so blah, blah, blah program. What you're going to do is make a whole bunch of Excel sheets and PowerPoints that nobody's going to listen to, and you're going to enjoy it for the first 3 months, and then afterwards, it's going to be painful. I'm being honest. So majors, bachelor required in engineering. Okay, so that makes sense. What you'll need: understanding dynamics and importance of a customer relationship. Demonstrate how to identify a problem. Understanding how to recognize. Honestly, why does this need to even be here? Okay. Minimum GPA 3.0. So if you don't have a 3.0 and you're struggling in school, well, tough luck. You're an idiot and you're not going to get it. Operations management intern. So this is all they have is intern programs. And notice they don't have how much you're going to get paid here, because most companies do that. Yeah, this is a bad example, because they're not giving anything. And again, so much for all these positions that they need. Let me see, maybe in the UK. All internship programs, basically these internship programs, they make you work the same job as any person in this department would do, and you're getting paid $15 an hour or $12 an hour. Let me pick a different company. Let's say Salesforce. Okay, that's a company I don't like. Here we are, Salesforce careers. Let's go ahead and see what Salesforce careers are like. So you guys can see what this hiring process is like. and where people are. Search jobs. This is how bad it is, guys. There you go. You got Workday. Let's see. Sales. 1,000 jobs in the United States. Oh, 2,000 jobs in the United States, more or less. Okay, great. Let's see. Mobile quality engineer, manager, user research manager, employee recruiter on Slack, which is basically something like Microsoft Teams. Let's see. Product marketing manager. Here's a BS job. Working in San Francisco remote. Okay. So this is something that they now require you 5 years of experience in product marketing. Okay, so even if you're 3 years or your stuff, MBA a plus. But we also love people who didn't go to business school, and we probably won't. We'll just throw away the resume or anything. Yeah, and that's the thing. When you apply over here, so this is 5 years of experience, stellar public speaking and skills, passion for deep understanding of B2B software, which is business-to-business software, which is what Salesforce is, delivery presentations of internal and external audience to articulate the value of success plans, aka make a PowerPoint, identify, lead, and execute on innovative marketing initiatives or collateral, a BS platitude that can be said, have a brain. Create and maintain marketing assets, including customer pitch decks and keynote presentations. Buzzwords, BS, blah, 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 blah. Boring. This is why, guys, I'm warning you, for those of you who are in college, like halfway through college or about to think of college, don't go into a trade, go into construction, get a blue-collar job. Don't do this. Don't do this. I'm trying to save you here. Don't do this. We don't need any more product marketing managers. And look at these. Look. Oh yeah, you're gonna be real happy here at Salesforce, guys. You're gonna be so happy. We need people that are gonna do this. Okay, this is what you want to do. Honestly, you're gonna be a lot happier. You're gonna be working. You're gonna be active. You're gonna be doing stuff. Okay, this is not gonna make you happy. I'm gonna tell you right now, it won't. Okay, you know what's going to happen? It's gonna burn you out. You're going to be part of one of the numbers in the Great Resignation of the millions upon millions of people who want to go ahead and quit their job. I'm being honest with you. I'm telling you guys the reality of things. Go and get a blue-collar job or go do something that's going... Look, I know people who graduated through high school. They went, instead of going to college, they went through the workforce. And they're in plumbing or they're in electricity or, electric work or whatever. And then all of us intelligent people went ahead and went to college, got ourselves into debt, got degrees. I know people who have a doctorates and PhDs and master's degree that are barely getting the money that I got when I was an intern. And they were looking for jobs all over the place. Okay, and there's people that went to high school and within 5 years they were making six figures. Okay, that's not a meme. Granted, there's a lot of work they have to do, and yeah, some of these jobs are pretty tough. Okay, but you don't want to do this, And there's BS jobs that require 5 years of experience, for a research position or something like that, or a recruit position. And that's the thing. Manager, user research. Let's not look at the manager jobs. That's the thing. How many managers do you really need? Look at this, 1,929 jobs. If there really was a need for people, would they have 1,929 job positions open in the United States? That's ridiculous. There's something wrong with that. If there's so many people, what company is working so much that they need 2,000 people in that they need, and they can't hire these people? Look, posted yesterday. Look at this. They just posted a whole bunch of jobs. Let's see. Intern job type, other contractor. Permanent position, FTE. Marketing, finance. This is the way things work. And then not only that, you go ahead and upload your resume. These job websites don't go ahead and say, oh, that's it. Because that's what you should do is just, turn in your resume and that's it. Then you'll have 500 people looking for the same position that you're looking for. And you'll be lucky if you get to the 100 that are seen, if anything. And then they'll probably take the one person because they knew somebody who worked at the company, and then that's it. You have to get a leg up. It has to be through nepotism. That's the way things are going to work. And honestly, people are going to hire people within their social circle. That's the way things work. All right? So, yeah. That's how bad the economy is. The working, and that's why why are people going in? Because you had 2,000 jobs open. Most of them posted. Let me see. There's got to be jobs that they posted and have posted here. And I can't go ahead and see which job postings they've had up for months. I'll be going through this forever. Look at this. Look at how many jobs here posted 4 days ago. And I don't expect these to be obviously taken within the first first people or whatever in the first week you have people there, but look at this. Okay, let me see if I can narrow it down and maybe go from there. Let's go Indianapolis, and let's see something that has like maybe 30 or so jobs. Okay, and then this is ridiculous. It said you have 400 jobs available in Indianapolis, and now you don't, or 500. See, let's put 500, and let's put marketing. Right? You've had jobs, look here, posted 30 plus days ago, posted 30 plus days ago, posted 30 plus days ago. You need senior manager, senior analyst, senior manager, manager, director, marketing, senior analyst, marketing manager, director, field partner, marketing manager, manager, senior analyst, manager, director, manager. Oh, look at this. Content marketing writer, thought leadership. What do you need for this? Somebody's going to write on Facebook and on Twitter. Build drafts for PMM interview. 4 years experience. Okay, so this is something, thought leadership. This is something, content marketing writer. This is something that's an entry-level job. They want you 4 years of experience already. That's the problem. That's a problem. And half of these people don't count, your college degree. Your college degree was 4 years of experience. Isn't that enough? No, we want 4 years of experience plus a degree. This is ridiculous. So yeah, this is why the economy is in such a mess and why people don't want to work anymore. I want Amtrak all year and every year. Well, we'll get there. $58 billion for Amtrak out of the total $65 billion for the rest of the railroad infrastructure within the country. Yeah, it doesn't. I honestly believe if we could get that in P3, bonds or not even, we just have it out there. Let's see what else there. Bingo, it's a lobbyist. Exactly, Jay Timmerman. Oh, it's already 10:16. Yeah, I've gone on to a whole ringer there. This is the prime example of what the Democrats and Republicans do best, sneaking things, and they have absolutely nothing to do with anything. Yeah. Oh, man, guys. Yeah, it's just awful. AL, at least we get to watch the fall of America on the internet. It's I don't know, maybe let's do this. Would you ever go back to Europe? Are your ancestors from Spain? Yeah, mostly from Spain, Asturias. Hence the last name. Well, the last name is both Italian and Spanish, mostly from the Italian side. Magnetti is actually the Italian name from Milan, but apparently the family was from Sicily or whatnot, which made no sense. Why is there a Milanese name with Sicilians? But I don't know. It's what it is. Should there be instructions for each build? Yeah, there should be. I wouldn't give money to somebody if I don't know what they're gonna do. Unless you're giving it to somebody on the street, and maybe they'll go ahead. You give them $1 or $2, and But let's put it this way. That's who you give money to, and you probably have an idea of knowing where they're gonna go to. But in a bill, you want to make sure where the money is going to is and what it's for is laid out. Let's see. Let's see, for 2 months, learn an application. Yeah, that's the thing. The job market in America is an absolute joke. These jobs are paying little to nothing, and they want to go to college to get a degree that's absolutely useless. It's nothing but a wig waste of time. Yes, Chester Wolf the Griffin. It's absolutely true. Yeah, good to see you again too, CTR Lee. If you have an internship, and let's say there's a small business that look, it makes sense if you're working with a small business with people that or family, friends, that's a business to work for, right? Because look, we used to have it in this country, and what used to be traditionally for hundreds of years was that people in the same family would work in the same trade, right? If your father was a blacksmith, you would most likely be a blacksmith. If your father was a steel worker, you would most likely be a steel worker. Or if he was a farmer, you would most likely be a farmer, right? So all that knowledge of all that trades went down, through the generations between families, right? Or if your father was a cobbler, then you were a cobbler. If your family was, in seamstress or in textiles, then you would be the same thing, right? But all of a sudden, people wanted to go to college because, I don't want you working in the slag heaps, or I don't want you going ahead and, putting the bolts on doors and all that in the factory. Why would I want to do that in Detroit? We can send that over to Mexico or or to somewhere else to go ahead for them to do it. And the cars haven't gotten cheaper. That's the thing with libertarians, and I love that. We're sending it to other countries so it can be cheaper. Have the prices of goods become cheaper? Have they honestly become cheaper because we've moved the factories over to China, Vietnam, and Mexico? Have the goods become cheaper? There you go. The whole libertarian argument goes to crap. It crumbles down. Would you go to Bangladesh? Honestly, I don't know. I don't really have an interest in India. I'm going to be honest. Would I go back to Spain or to Europe? Probably not. Things there in Spain and Europe are honestly worse. That's odd. I heard something go open up. Give me a second, guys.
Get strong, work away, work away. They opened up a continent from sea to shining sea. A heritage they passed along and left to you and me. Roll on, America, kill those berries, kill those riches. Roll on, America, rear those houses high. Roll on, America, for that glory. Roll on, America, win those riches, earn that glory. Roll on, America, work and sing a song, America. Roll on, America.
Roll along. That's what we've been doing, haven't we? That's what we've been doing for a lot of years. I don't claim much for my part, but gosh, when you think of all our American efforts.
All right, apologies there, guys. False alarm. I thought I heard the alarm go for a door opened up, but apparently it was the air conditioner that caused the air conditioner just started and opened up the door because of the air pressure. So we're all fine. Nobody's trying to rob my house or anything like that. It's like that meme where, when somebody robs your house and then you see the Sweet Caroline thing, and Sweet Caroline, ba ba ba. I love that meme. But yeah, nobody's coming to rob my house. Poor person if they did. But yeah, that's where we're at, guys. Let me see. Yeah, a lot of these jobs that are hiring are low-wage, low-paid service sector jobs that have no benefits. Exactly. I see, teacher. I graduated as a graphic designer, but I've been thinking about diversifying for quite a while. Yeah, that's another reason a lot of people are thinking that, is it really worth it to be working in their sections? And after getting laid off and getting spat on and kicked with the boot for a company they basically, shed their blood, sweat, and tears for, in some places literally, blood, sweat, and tears. This is what happens. And companies just treat people like garbage. I've had enough horror stories myself, and Holly has had horror stories. I think the worst one that she had was when she was having a miscarriage at one of her jobs, and they didn't let her go home. That's cruel and unusual, and honestly, a manager who would do that, doesn't even deserve to be working. Let's be quite honest. If somebody's having a horrifying thing happening to them, You know, they should, you know, have a week off at the very least. You know, it's terrible. This is how jobs are nowadays. This is the corporate environment. It's inhumane. Yeah, let me see. Chester Wolf, I've been working at UPS for 5 years, making roughly $40,000 a year. All I do is feed packages into an automatic sorting machine. Not hard at all. Yeah, you're getting paid more than people probably at Salesforce are doing. I guarantee you these jobs, and they're not... This is the thing. Any job that doesn't show you how much you're going to make, because I've already applied for plenty of positions that tell you exactly how much you're going to make. Which is why I'm kind of done with the corporate work environment. What I'm doing is not going to be anywhere near this. And let's put it this way: I'm healthy enough, I'm intelligent enough, and I have enough of a sense of justice and experience to know that my skills could be better used somewhere else. And I would like to try something else at this point. So that's where that's what I'm looking at. This sort of thing and being in a corporate environment like this, especially for Salesforce, something like that. Honestly, you don't need a CRM system to go ahead and manage that. This used to be managed just by actual communication between people. Service jobs are dehumanizing. That's what boomers don't understand about millennial situation. Boomers work service jobs in their youth only. Yeah, exactly. This is what it is. And Europe is dealing with the many same issues, but they're not dealing with the liabilities that America has. Long term, they should be much more stable. That's the thing. Europe has the history and the capacity where they're at, and their infrastructure is a heck of a lot better. Honestly, Europe is going to be better off than the United States. In the next 10 years or so. Well, it depends. In some aspects, very much not. In some, yes. Because Europe also has their issues as well. I mean, it's quite expensive to live in Europe in some places. All right, well, that's where we are at, guys. It's 10:25. We've been going at this for 2 hours and 25 minutes. It's not bad. So, this is again, I'm going to leave you with this. This is what we need. This is what we need. This is what it leads to. Okay, not only that, you have people in jobs working on there, people manning the stations, people talking with other people managing, the ticketing and managing, customer service relations and, and jobs within the stations. You have restaurants and shops within the stations, people and clerks and all that type of stuff. It's all a massive economy put into there. In the microeconomic scale, transit-oriented development is very much an old school way of working an economy. When people used to go to urban areas, that was the way urban areas worked. Okay, they were at the center of empires and cities and of civilizations. It was kind of transit-oriented development, right? People went in carts and brought their wares and goods, and people walked around cities. Places like in ancient Rome and all these other places in Mesopotamia and Egypt and, you didn't have trains and whatnot, but later on, as things began to modernize, the biggest aspect of going ahead and urbanizing and bringing goods and services, connecting them much faster and much cheaper, was the train. The steel locomotive was the big thing in that, and that actually helped out. We're to the point where the steam age and it became a big deal. People were coming up with massive amounts of inventions and stuff like that. That's what they call the Belle Epoque. All right, thanks for the honesty. That's all I am, guys. I'm just being straightforward and honest. That's who I am. I can imagine me when I get, usually when I drink, after, and I never get drunk. I don't get drunk. I know where my limits are, and it takes a lot to get me drunk, but I don't like to, and I don't enjoy it, and I don't do it, and I've never done it. But we can, I'm the type of guy that we can get it together, have pizza, have some drinks, and we can have discussions like this. That's me. All right, everyone. Thank you, and thank you all for coming on board on this wild ride of the American Rail Club. I will put these articles soon into the description below. Thank you all for joining. Make sure to like this video so the algorithm picks it up. And if you're not subscribed, do subscribe. And if you are subscribed already, make sure to ring that bell so you know when the next train is coming into the station. God bless you all. Godspeed. We will see you all on board next time. Take care and God bless.